In the realms of God, man happens to be the youngest in the order of creation. It's so amazing that of all the creations that God embarked upon before he began the project of man, he decided to load all of them in the spirit realm. So in the spirit realm, there are elders in the angelic ranking. There are beasts in the angelic ranking. There are messengers in the angelic ranking. All of them were put in the spirit realm. When God wanted to create man, he decided to create another realm for man. And he put him in a visible realm, in a natural realm that is not invincible and supernatural. So our existence on this plane primarily is to bring the influence of the government of the realm of God to our realm. Because our realm was excluded, so to say, from the realm where God and all of the creations that existed before us dwell. So man will lose relevance in the scheme of things unless it develops the power to bring the influence of the realm of God into his realm. Now, because the realm of man is completely distinct from the divine realm, the attention and the focus of every spirit is now on this realm. So every spirit wants to have a stake in this realm, because this realm becomes like a virgin realm. It is the extent to which man enthrones a spirit in this realm that will determine the revelation of the essence, the nature, and the will of that spirit. This realm becomes a realm that is subject to modification to the degree that man imports the influence of a spirit into this realm. So God himself, when he created this realm, he allowed the realm to man to determine the extent to which his life and his will affect and impact this realm. So this realm will be devoid of God except man brings the influence of God to this realm. In the same vein, every other spirit will have effect and impact on this realm to the degree that man will allow them find expression. So one of the major significance of our existence in this realm is the fact that we are here to bring the government of the spirit realm into the natural realm. And you see, when God put man in this world, he said, let them have dominion. Let man on this realm have dominion. Now, the Christianity that have been shown to us in recent time have tilted on an extreme into the spirit realm. So it makes it look as if when a man begins to dominate this realm, he is carnal. That's wrong. Man was put here to dominate this realm. Now, if you listen to spiritual people in recent times, it looks as if the goal of man is to leave this body literally and go and live in the spirit realm. So they make it look as if you are dominating this realm, you have become carnal and you are no longer mindful of God, because we have not understood the reason why we are here. God is not so pleased that you are appearing in heaven every day, because he saw heaven before he put you on earth. God is not so pleased that everything about your life becomes spirit. So spirit that you can no longer pass your biology. You have become so spirit that you can no longer do business and succeed. So you see a believer, because he's a man of prayer, he has become a creature of poverty. So his life is a visible definition of poverty. If you want to understand what poverty means, don't go and read any book. Just look at him. He's an expression of the essence of poverty. And the more he expresses poverty, the more he thinks he's spiritual. He takes so much pride in the fact that he's so poor that he showcases it. I see a lot of believers, they take so much pride in the fact that for the whole year, they were in heaven from January to December. And then I asked a question. God saw the spirit realm before he put you on earth. He could make you like Angel Gabriel, but he decided to clothe you with body. How come this your spirituality has no impact in the visible realm where you dwell? There is a problem. It's a fundamental problem with our understanding. So we need to understand that we were created to dominate this realm. We were created to live in this realm, not in the spirit realm. So the emphasis of my teaching tonight is to bring us to an understanding of how we can tap into the resources of prayer in dominating the visible realm. When you begin to journey in the path of prayer, you are going to realize that there are two basic things that will happen to you. First is that you will begin to traverse the spirit realm. You will begin to walk in the corridors of the spirit realm. You will begin to do a lot of business in the spirit realm. You will become acquainted with the spirit realm. The reason is because man was created to participate and to partner with the divine. So on the corridor of intimacy, there is a dimension of your journey that is spirit world. But beyond that dimension, there is also another dimension of your journey that is earthward. You must dominate this world. So as you grow in your intimacy with God and your interaction in the spirit realm, you must also grow in things that have to do with earthly and terrestrial dominion. So you must consider issues of leadership. You must consider issues of finance. You must consider issues that have to do with social interactions. You must consider issues that have to do with human relationships. Else, your spirituality will be useless. The reason the people of the world, they are not making more impact than Christians, by the way. But the reason they are making the level of impact they are making is because we have abandoned the word that God sent us to dominate to them, and we are looking for places in the spirit where it's not our natural habitat. So we grow in the spirit, but our word is subdued. When you come into the world today and you say you are looking for a leader, you will hardly find one among all the prayer warriors. What is the hope of Ghana if everybody sitting here that is cutting across all demographics and different age range? What is the hope of Ghana if we cannot find somebody among you who can become president of this country? How then does the spiritual engagement translate to dominion? I know when I was coming here, everybody was expecting impartation, so that before I begin, the power of God begin to move, and then we enjoy the atmosphere of the Spirit for 3 hours, and then we go. If God needed a president in the next 4 years, bearing in mind that some of us here are 25, some of us are 26, and in the next 4 years we'll be 30, 31, can God find somebody here who can come into leadership enough to give direction to the youths of Ghana? Can God find somebody who can enter the legislative arm of government and talk to them intelligently about the plights of the youth and bring strategies on remediating the plights of the youth? After all the impartations, can God find somebody here who can sit down and design a model, an economic model that can affect the scope of the national market and economy of Ghana, that he can put his grace upon and use to advance the frontiers of the kingdom? Can God come among us here and find an intellectual giant who can produce innovations that the world can bank on tomorrow. Why do you think we are so afraid? I know the idea behind the vaccination is the strategy of the Antichrist to bring control. And we will fight it and refute it with all our might. But I also know the reason we are afraid is because most of the leading firms that are responsible for the production of the Antichrist are agents of the devil. You will hardly find kingdom people that can produce vaccines like that the world can bank on and say, no, I know this one is Jesus. His goal is not to modify the genome of man. His goal is not to turn man to an alien. I know this one still has the fear of God, and he don't want to tamper with the delicate engineering of the frame and the makeup of man. We know most of the people pioneering these things are demonic people. But when are we going to have Christians that understand the intelligence and the strategy of dominating the world by taking authority over every strata of human endeavor? The moment a believer begins to make stride in those areas, he's seen as a carnal person. If a believer goes into politics, we disconnect from him because he has become carnal. He no longer holds stake in the church. We believe his goal is to bring government money and put on the altar, and then we impart him go. We don't care what he does. But all the laws and legislations that come from the government is affecting the church. That's why church can be shut down, because the person who is making the law, first, is not afraid of God, and number two, he doesn't have the interest of the church at heart, and number three, he doesn't believe the church is relevant. The reason you go to the market and you see all kinds of demonic expression is because the people leading the market and determine the forces of the market have no fear of God. So the goal is only about gain. So we need to consider how to deploy prayer. Since it's a prayer conference, it's not a leadership conference, it's not an economic conference, it's not a marriage conference. But we need to learn how to deploy the arsenals of prayer to dominate the visible realm. Today, more than 60% of the young politicians in Ghana are committed to Freemason. So the occult is already trying to hijack the politics of Ghana. And then we have people praying who are not conscious or sensitive to the different strata of society. We have people praying who are not conscious about developmental issues. An intercessor fails an exam, and then he wakes up proudly and says, it's a dealing. God is dealing with me. He wants to humble my pride. There are 1,001 resources by which God can humble your pride with. Not your exam, not your certificate that your future depends on. God doesn't need you to fail exam to address your pride. There are many resources he has to do that. And I'm not saying God cannot do that. But I'm saying when you fail exam, take responsibility. Sit down, read, and pass. Because God needs your brain as well. If we said today, we have many viable Christians coming out of the universities, we need programmers that will program the ATMs. You will be shocked that you hardly find programmers who can program ATM machines for banks. They will still go and bring somebody from China who does not know the name Jesus. And then we say we are taking over. No. If we must take over, our operations must be holistic. So now that I've been able to bring you down from the spirit realm, let me begin my teaching. Elohim Adonai. Elohim Adonai. Don't worry, please sit down. Elohim Adonai. Elohim Adonai.